of alcoholic beverages, salt, the exports to Kenya basically, from Namibia mostly in the last 2 years. There's been a spike in beverages, especially the wines. Kenyans are importing a lot of wines from Namibia right now. And as well, Kenya is importing a lot of salt from Namibia in the last 2 years. You find these trucks coming from Kenya to buy wine in Namibia, then they take them back by road. This has really been a major factor in the last 2 years. It's a place that probably we need to look into, really, especially the guys who produce wine. The next Nairobi International Trade Fair would be a good opportunity to actually go and display and expose the wines that come from Namibia. I'm not so sure on the date of the next one, but I know there is one coming soon. They're always around October, between August and October, somewhere there. I think it's worth exploiting that. Kenya has a lot of tea, coffee, crude palm oil, flowers, textile, fruits, and vegetables, as alluded earlier by Kevin. He spoke about avocados, pineapples, etc. And these are quite big, grade A quality fruits. Namibia, we eat avocados that's probably a bit smaller in size, but they're not grade A quality. They've got a bigger seed in there. I think Kenya has managed to produce avocado that some are almost seedless. So you have a big avocado out there, but with a very tiny seed out there. And that's the one that you see goes a lot to China. In the same light, you find that there's a lot of pineapples. I see Harriet is sitting somewhere there. But where Harriet comes from, there is a pineapple of this size. And I think we're used to a tiny pineapple here. And I think those are the opportunities that actually are out there, and I think it's worth exploiting. Kenya produces some of the best juices from pineapples, and this is 100% juice. I do realize that here I'm more conscious about the juice that I drink. Is it a blended juice? Is it 100% juice? But we are more conscious about that. And I think we should be able to get some of these juices from Kenya and bring them into our market. Namibia, on the other hand, has plenty of resources, fish, grapes, minerals, in which basically are having minimal entry into Namibia. The way Namibia exports minerals, you realize it's not more to the African countries, but it's more to the European markets. And I think there is that opportunity out there for exploitation and increasing the exports that Namibia actually does. Recently, I was a part of an event where Kenya Fisheries Department were here to benchmark and understand the opportunities in fishing that they could explore. One of the things that emerged is that with Kenya setting itself to fully harness its fishing resources, it needs expertise in establishing fish processing factories. This is a field that the joint ventures which were advocated yesterday by the Comrade David Minister could literally come in handy. So if you know of a fish processing factory in Namibia, there is mediums to link you up with, because Kenya has a coastline probably half the size of what Namibia has. But Kenya has never fully harnessed the fish resources that it actually has. But now they're making sure that they're going into that field. But the way we have here over 34 processing factories, there are probably very few in Kenya. And I think that's another field that there should be partnerships and those joint ventures. One of the flagship projects of Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, is the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, the one which was being mentioned by the ladies from NIPDB yesterday. It's a high ambition trade agreement with a comprehensive scope that includes critical areas of Africa's economy, such as digital trade and investment protection, among other areas, by progressively eliminating tariffs and non-tariff barriers to trade in goods and liberalize trade in services, cooperate on investment, intellectual property rights, and competition policy. But I want to just say that for SCFTA to have an impact, our SMEs need to produce goods to be traded, as currently the service sector dominates the economy. Likewise, they need support in formalization, participation, and growth in national and regional markets. Our leaders and economic planners must show great effort in an endeavor to overwhelm the barriers. The informal businesses are a potential pipeline for formalization of SMEs, lessening fragmentation in the sector and generating economies of scale. Majority of the delegates here are from that category, and they will tell you that payment systems, especially in Namibia, is a problem as it is too rigid in the current structure. But yet, business-to-business transactions are a major contributor to growth. I think this has been spoken over and over, that our laws are actually outdated in terms of transactional payment policies. And I think as Kevin was alluding earlier, I mean, questions have been asked about M-Pesa here. You know, M-Pesa is literally, you can have an M-Pesa without having a bank. Literally, for Namibians, let me explain it that way. Here, you have to have e-wallet, and you have to link it with FNB RAN. I don't know, there's Blue Wallet, there's the Blue Voucher and stuff like that, but it's linked specifically to a bank. Now, M-Pesa is linked to your MTC line. To make it that simple, it is linked to, you don't have to have a bank account to do transaction, but you can pay somebody from your MTC line. There's a way of topping it up, and then you pay to a bank account, pay somebody who doesn't have a bank account as well. You know, here for you to have that your e-wallet, the person must link it up, as I say, with the account there. And that is how easy it has been. Right now, as I was sitting there and Kevin was giving out his speech, the Kenyan government has just collapsed all the pay bills. You know, there's accounts that you pay, that the government offers for you to pay whatever you want, a service from them. And they have collapsed all the pay bills to one, 222. So if you wanted a passport, they will tell you, the Home Affairs will tell you this is the pay bill you can pay to. If you wanted something else, they'll tell you the other one is the one. But now they've collapsed all of them into just one. It's like having one account for all government transactions. And that's the beauty of something like M-Pesa. But it also makes it easier to send money, not only in Kenya, but outside Kenya. But here you'll find that, for example, if you were to have an invoice that you have to actually pay, that invoice will take longer to actually pay for that invoice. But with M-Pesa system, I can pay that invoice very quickly. You know, I don't have to wait for government to authorize the release of the funds. It's going to go straight through. And I think that's the rigidity we're talking about. One of the things that can be done in this sector is basically to encourage the Bank of Namibia to onboard, for example, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, which is a financial infrastructure for cross-border payments in Africa. PAPSS allows for instant and secure payments for cross-border payments in Africa between African countries in local currencies, using advanced technology to connect banks and other financial intermediaries. This system basically facilitates inter-Africa trade. If I come away from the rigidity on the payment systems, today I see a lot of Kenyan vehicles in Namibia, particularly overlanders from Kenya who come to see the beauty of Namibia. I as well see organized tour groups that have partnered, for example, with Gondwana and Namibia Tourism Board for ease of movement and enjoyment. The opportunities there for tour agencies, especially in Namibia, to fully exploit the rise in the middle income earners bracket in Kenya with a good disposable income that want to tour this beautiful country. I would really encourage that Namibia looks at Kenya as that next tourism source. Majority of our tour companies try to focus really too much on Europe and the Americas. But as you say, right now if you go to Swakopmund, you'll not miss a single vehicle, a vehicle that does not have a Kenyan number plate. This was something which was very difficult back in the days, but right now there are quite a lot there. They are organizing themselves, even those ones who don't come driving, but they organize themselves in groups and they fly in here and they take the entire coastline from the south to Nene. And they're visiting this country, and that's good money. They're paying the international rates, and they're only looking for more people to reach out to them and market this beautiful country. So I think really we could be able to get more from that if there is partnerships and tour agencies that can actually do that. As well today, here in Namibia, we have a pioneer savings and credit cooperative society, the Kenyan Sako. And I'm glad, as I said yesterday, the chairman is right here, Bwana Peter Wamburi.